ready to compete in Bloom. Well, the Starbeck in Bloom team always does really well in the Yorkshire in Bloom Awards, so this year they've been invited to represent Yorkshire in Britain in Bloom. So we're going to follow the progress through the year, and Christine Stewart from Starbeck in Bloom is going to show me around. Christine, thank you for agreeing to show us around Starbeck today. Tell us a little bit more about Starbeck, because for me it's the bit between Knaresborough and Harrogate, but I know there's a lot more to it than that.
I think people often think that, but actually Starbeck is much more special than that. In fact, this year we're running a whole campaign based on Starbeck is special. And why is Starbeck special? It's not just the community, it's not just the flowers, it's just a mixture of everything together. Makes it really, really special. For example, this area here in front of the library, which is shortly going to be a community library, which makes it very special in itself, is the flower bed that we did for the Tour de France. Well, of course, the Tour de France came right down the high street. Here, you could have touched them, they were there. Our local metalworker made us this beautiful sculpture. We call him Pierre because he has a little moustache, because he's French, obviously. And he's on the route of the Tour de France, coming down through Starbeck. So there he sits in his bed of yellow flowers. They will be yellow come the spring, believe me. They might not look so now. But this is just part of what Starbeck in Bloom looks after. And our aim is just to join every strand of the community together. And that's what we're hoping to do, especially this year.
When I've met in Bloom teams, it's always so much more than about the plants and about the gardening, isn't it? It's more about a device to get the community to work together, isn't it?
I always think of ourselves as Starbeck in Bloom as just being the catalyst. We're the bit in the middle. We're the bit that the groups come to if they need something to do, a new project. Maybe the cubs want to go and look at birds. Maybe they want to do bird boxes. Whatever it is, we're the bit in the middle that we pull all the strands together. There are over 28 groups in Starbeck that all work together at various times in the year. And it's very important that we acknowledge that their help is what makes Starbeck special.
Now let's go round to the back of the library here, just down the side of the library, isn't it? Because there's a lovely garden, which you can see a little bit from the road.
It is open to the public, you can go in at any time.
And I can already see, before we get inside, that we've got bird feeders in here.
We've got the bug house. That was made by Tidy Gardens, who work out at their facility for adults with learning difficulties, and they join in with us, and they made us the wonderful insect house there. All this garden was just wasteland. It is owned by North Yorkshire, as it's joined up to the library, but we have, as Starbeck in Bloom, have taken it over to a certain extent. And what we did a few years ago, we asked people if they had any plants to spare, could they drop them off? There isn't a single plant in this garden that we've paid for.
Fantastic, because there's a massive range, isn't it? And everyone's sort of chopping and dividing and moving, aren't they? So
and what we find, we come through the gateway there, which, as I say, is open onto the street, and we'll suddenly fall over another plant pot with another plant. And we have two ladies who work in the library as volunteers, and they pick them up and they just put them in wherever. At the moment, for the winter, we are clearing an area over here where we use for the composting. So you can see all this area has been cleared of ivy, and here we have our composting area, which we use for anything that we take off the street, for the tubs and things, is all composted here. And our plans for the spring this year, we're going to have a willow wicker fence made, and the students from Henshaws are going to come down and do that.
Fantastic. So again, it's bringing the community together, isn't it?
It's just to get everybody grouped together, and that's all that it is. And you can see here we've got lots of plants, primulas that have come out of the tubs at various times, and in they come. This garden is used by anybody who comes to the library, because of course we have a cafe here in the library as well. So you can come and have a cup of tea, and in the nice weather you can come and sit outside. We use it for any activities. We did an RSPB bird watch here last winter. We did a batty day. We did a hedgehog day. All sorts of activities activity days we do here at the library, we've always been made to feel very welcome, and as you can see from the bird feeders and things, the cubs and the scouts use it for their activities, so it's a very popular part of the garden. It might be very small, but it's very much used.
And it's a nice little sheltered bit just off the high street, isn't it?
It's just off the high street, and yet, I mean, you probably can hear the traffic noise, but it is secluded and quite secure.
So this is one of the areas that Starbeck in Bloom looks after. Where are we heading to next?
Just down onto Addyman's Wood. Sounds very grand, but it's actually just part of the big field.
Around Starbeck today, meeting the Starbeck in Bloom team, and even though it's a very busy road, you'll know the road that Starbeck is kind of based around. It's the bit between Knaresborough and Harrogate, but literally I'm about 20-30 feet away from the main road, and can you hear the amount of birds here? Listen to this. It's amazing, Christine, they're so noisy, aren't they?
We have an awful lot of birds here. We did a bird survey a few years ago, and we were absolutely delighted with the types of birds that we found. Listen, there's the blackbird up there. Oh, no.
It's the robin, that one.
The robin. And so this part of the field, it's just an open recreational ground, we decided that we would make it into more of a woodland area. So this is our Addyman's Wood. So we have information boards to tell you what birds we've got about, and we have a path that we have walking through the woods, and people use it with their dog walking and things. Over the years we've planted lots and lots of tree whips, we've got bluebells planted, we've got woodland flowers planted, we have seats. As you can see, this is our owl bench that says Addyman's Wood. Children love to sit on that one. We have insect houses. We did a big hedgehog project here. We have lots and lots of bird boxes up, including a huge owl box up in the far corner. It's so well hidden I can never find it. But this was part of the hedgehog project. So we have hedgehog houses. We have hedgehogs that stay here, and hedgehogs information to help with people. So the whole little area, it's only small, but it gives us that wildlife. And if anybody wants to just come and have a quiet hour, half hour, just sitting and looking, you see the boxes are there. There's the owl box.
Gosh, it's huge, isn't it?
It's massive.
And do you know if you have owls in it?
We do, because as you can see here, just over the fence here, we have the allotments. Those are the St Andrews allotments. And the allotment holders tell me that there is an owl resident.
Because when people think of Britain in Bloom, of in Bloom groups, they quite kind of think of little pots with nice bedding plants along the main streets. But it's so much more than that, isn't it? You've got to tick a lot of boxes, haven't you? And conservation and wildlife is a big part, isn't it?
Yeah, conservation, biodiversity, caring for the environment. These are all things that are really important. It no longer is how many hanging baskets are there on the high street. Yes, that does make it look nice and bright, but it isn't the most important thing. And of course, bringing the community together is probably the biggest thing of all.
So this is going to be a massive year for you, isn't it,
Yeah.
Christine, and the team. What are you going to do to make it even better than it normally is?
We're starting off on February the 8th with our launch evening. This is where every sector of the community have been invited to get together to decide what we can actually do to make Starbeck very special. This is our big project for the year. We're also hoping to do an art installation during the year. That project is still to get off the ground, but we're starting, and it's more a matter of making every little bit that we have that is good even better. So if you like, we're polishing our medals.
It's attention to detail a lot, isn't
Yes.
it, with the In Bloom? You know, to go from silver gilt to gold and then category win it. It's a lot of attention to detail.
We've been lucky that we've had gold in Yorkshire in Bloom for several years now, and we just feel that every little bit that we do, and we do them so well, just has to be polished up, just made that little bit more better. Not very good English, I'm afraid, but just that little bit better in every aspect, and just to put the shine on it. And I'm sure we will, because the people in Starbeck will make it happen.
You're the Dave Brailsford of Starbeck, aren't you?
Am I indeed?
Well, he believes, doesn't he, the cycling guy, he believes a tiny little bit better of every little thing can make huge improvements.
That is quite true, though. It is true, and it doesn't take a lot of doing. If you've already got something that's successful, you don't have to work tremendously hard to make it better, but everybody has to pull together, and it is every single person. It might be me that you're talking to today, but I am not the only person. Everybody needs to pull together. But as you can see, it will make a big difference.
Oh, and thank you to Christine Stewart from Starbeck in Bloom. We'll be back in Starbeck after 11:30. There are some photos on our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/BBC York. And you have a see of the Bug Hotel, which has really inspired me. I'm going to make a bit better. Every little thing can make huge improvements.
That is quite true, though. It is true, and it doesn't take a lot of doing. If you've already got something that's successful, you don't have to work tremendously hard to make it better, but everybody has to pull together, and it is every single person. It might be me that you're talking to today, but I am not the only person. Everybody needs to pull together. But as you can see, it will make a big difference.
Oh, and thank you to Christine Stewart from Starbeck in Bloom. We'll be back in Starbeck after 11:30. There are some photos on our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/BBC York. And you have a see of the Bug Hotel, which has really inspired me. I'm going to make a big bug hotel like one of the ones in Starbeck. Looks really nice. Go and have a look at facebook.com/BBC. So let's head back to Starbeck in Harrogate, where Christine Stewart from Starbeck in Bloom is showing me around.
As you can see, we're right next to the play area, the children's play area. Oh, look, there's the red kite flying over for you.
Gosh, and this is quite a built-up area, isn't it?
Oh yes, we have 3. Yeah.
It's huge, isn't it?
Yes, enormous.
It looks like an actual kite, never mind a bird. It looks like a chance kite, it's so big.
Yeah. So there's the red kite. So yes, here we've got the children's play area, and that's going to be massively improved with this grant of money. And we also have, which is quite unique for the Harrogate area, we have a green gym. So here you can come along, have a walk in the woodland, enjoy the wildlife, enjoy the birds, come and do a bit of exercise, a bit of a workout.
I'm going to have a go. I've never been to a green gym before, and I love going to the gym. So can I have a go at one of these?
Of course you can.
Oh dear, this is very exciting for me. And is this well used then?
Oh, very well used. The teenagers love it, but it's well used during the day by mothers who can't maybe afford a gym subscription. And you can come along here and nobody's going to laugh at you. You're far enough from the road to be able to do it without anybody laughing.
Right, what do I have to do? Double air walker. I'll put my feet in here then. Oh, blimey, it's wobbly. Right, here we go. Oh, wee! Oh, gosh. You've got to get your balance, haven't you? So hold on here, maybe.
Ooh. Just like going to the gym.
So that's quite like a cross-trainer kind of step.
Cross-trainer,
yeah.
One, yeah.
Gosh, that's good, isn't it? There's a lot of equipment in here, isn't there?
Very well equipped. Look at it all. And you've got the pleasure of the squirrels running up the tree behind you as well.
This is the future. Christine, this is the future. I've seen it. Never mind the children's play area. I'm in the green gym in Starbeck.
Yeah.
Look, there's a rowing machine.
Yeah. This
is for your arm exercise.
Lots of others. Yeah, lots and lots of equipment.
What a brilliant idea, isn't it?
Yeah, the council put this in several years ago. It was a really inspirational area for the adults. We were talking about having the new equipment. We're going to have some musical equipment and some acoustic equipment because we have very special schools here. Because just there, over there, that's Springwater School, which is for children from the age of 3 to 18 with extreme needs. So they use it here, so they come here quite a lot, and so it's going to be very well used. And I was laughing because when I said, what are we going to have for new equipment, please can we get rid of that little elephant and that little fire engine? They've been here for years. A girl on our committee said she remembered sitting on them when she was a child, and I won't tell you her age, and the lady said, oh, actually they're vintage. So you see the big difference between very old and old-fashioned and vintage even applies to play equipment, which I found quite funny.
Do you think we're vintage?
They're vintage. But it's nice to think that, you know, it'll all be kept and will be expanded. And of course the tree in the middle is a wonderful red chestnut tree.
Isn't she wonderful? Christine Stewart from Starbeck in Bloom. She's, you know, can you remember Roy from Dunnington? He was just like this force that kind of brings everything together. And I think Christine is going to be like that throughout the year with Starbeck in Bloom. That gym is brilliant. I didn't know they had one. I just want to go there every day and have a go at the outside gym. It's just brilliant, isn't it? All that fresh air. Yeah, I was a bit wobbly on that one, but I suppose you get used to the green gym equipment, don't you? So, you know, you bob your kids in the play area and then you go on the green gym. What a brilliant idea. Just such a lovely place to go and wander around, Starbeck. So we are going to follow the progress of the team because they're going to be competing in Britain in Bloom this year. So we'll keep up to date with them and see how they get on because there's a lot of work. If you want to see some of the photos, we're going to put photos up as we go through the year, but there's some photos there today from my visits. So facebook.com/BBC York. They've got a brilliant web page as well. If you want to get involved with Starbeck in Bloom, then there's a really good website you can go along to and find out all the events. They do have an official launch night, which I think it's on the 8th. I think I've just had a tweet about it. So yes, launch night, 8th of February at St Andrew's Church Hall. I think it's about 7:30. Everyone welcome. So if you want to get involved, it's a brilliant way to sort of meet all your neighbours and just work together to something so you can achieve something for Starbeck. So I'm sure they'd love to see you along there on the 8th. And thank you very much to Christine